Okay, this video is a new attempt at the recording from Tuesday. It was reported to me that the audio and the video didn't quite match up with the recording from Tuesday. So I'm going to attempt to do a re-record here in my office, and hopefully this will work out okay. Essentially what we set up is our week 14 lab. Inside of the week 14 lab, we are setting up routing and remote access for the routing piece. Now, since I configured this in class, there may be a few things that are a little bit different, but what we were trying to do is turn both of our servers into routers. So the first thing that I did on my first machine is I took a look at what the IP address is of it. And now for you guys, the first IP address of your server, I believe, is 1.1.1.1. Under your tools of your server manager, you should have a tool called the routing remote access. Now, you probably had this configured before from the VPN lab. So what you need to do is right-click on it and choose Disable Routing and Remote Access. After you disable it, this little window will pop up and it will stop the services. After the service is stopped, we right-click on it again and we configure and enable routing and remote access. We are going to choose a custom configuration, and we're going to choose the LAN routing. Again, essentially what we're doing is we're going to turn our server into a router. We're going to place our second server on the 20 network, and we know that if our first server is on the 1 network and our second server is on the 20 network, that means they're on separate foreign networks. And in order to communicate with a remote network, you need to go through a router. So that's what we're doing now, is enabling a router, LAN routing. I'm going to hit finish here and then OK. And it's going to ask me to start the service. What I will do is I will leave the video up that had video and audio that's not synced, just in case you wanted to watch it and to hear the other information I talked about. In this video, I'm just essentially going to show the configuration, but in the other video, went through a little bit of background information, and we also went through the quiz. This is just going to have the setup here. Okay, so I have routing remote access installed and I have LAN routing enabled. I'm going to come in here and configure this here in just a little bit, but what I want to do next is fire up my second server, and I'm going to place this second server onto a different network. So my first server is on the 110 network, and this one's going to be on the 20.20.20 network. So let me get logged in here. Changing the IP address on here. To 20.20.20.1. And I'm going to hit close. So just to show you here on this machine, I have the IP address of 20.20.20.1, and on my first machine has the IP address of 1.1.1.1. So 2 servers, both on different networks. Right now they would not be able to communicate. At this point, for you guys, if you try to ping the server on the other network, it should not be successful. For whatever reason, I am getting a reply back, and like I said, I had set this up before in class, and that's more than likely why, is the config is still in there. But you guys, if you try to ping the other server, you should not be successful. Over on my second server here, if I try to ping the first, again, you should not be successful, and that's because we don't have any routes to those networks. So what I'm going to do is go back over to my first server. Under my tools, I'm going to open up the routing remote access role again. and I'm going to go under IP version 4, and under the static routes I'm going to do a new static route. And the interface is what interface I am going to be sending out of. The destination is the destination network that I want to create a route to. Now, not a specific PC, but the entire network. Why create a route to one PC when you can create a route to the entire network that the PC is a part of? The subnet mask for that network is 222.550, and then the gateway is which address do I send to next in order to get to that destination. I would send to the 20.20.20.1 address. Okay. And then I would do the same thing over on my second server, but under here what I would do is I would create a route. Now again, this assumes that I have LAN routing enabled for the custom configuration. So I would create a route over to the 110 network, 222.55.0. The next hop address is 1.1.1.1. After this, my pings should be successful to the other server. So let me give you just a quick idea of what's going on here. Use Paint here for lack of a better tool. Is I have my first server on the left, my second server on the right. This first server over here on the left is on the 110 network with the /24, and my second server on the right is on the 20.20.20.0 network with the /24. So at this point, if I want this first PC to ping over to the second PC, we have to have a route to get from one network over to the foreign network. Without that, what would end up happening is this PC would try to ping and it would say, well, how do I get over to the 20.20.20 network? I do not have a route for that. But what we specified in our static route is we said for this PC to get over to this network, we are going to send out of our Ethernet, and we're going to send to the next hop address or the gateway of this, which is 20.20.20.1. And then we did the same thing on router 2. We said, or on server 2, which we turned into a router, we said so for server 2 to get over to this network, we are going to send out of our Ethernet, and we are going to send to the next hop address or the gateway of 1.1.1.1, which is the IP address of this server. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense as far as what's going on. Setting up your server as a router is not the best option. It's better to go get a dedicated router that has its own memory, its own processing, its own software that it can use for routing. But in a quick pinch, in a scenario where you need a router, maybe you don't have a large IT budget or something, you could turn your server into a router and set up static routes to your other foreign networks that you're trying to reach. So in the end, for the lab, you need a few different screenshots. One of the screenshots that you need is a screenshot showing successful pings. For that, on one of the servers, just ping both of our addresses. That will prove to me that your routes work and that you have bidirectional communication. Then you need a screenshot of one static route on your second server. So this would be one of the static routes. And then you need a screenshot of your static route on the first server. And that's essentially what I went through on Tuesday. Again, hopefully after watching this it makes a little bit more sense, and you can follow this better than the last video. As I said, I will keep that other video up. It's about 40 minutes in length. The audio video didn't sync, but But the audio seems to be pretty good. If you wanted to listen to it to maybe grab some background information, you can definitely take a look at it. But this, for the most part, should get you what you need for this week's lab. Thanks for watching.